Communities living near our coast are increasingly vulnerable to natural disasters, which is why stabilizing our shoreline is particularly important here in Florida. It has now been 1 year since the completion of the installation of 2 breakwaters comprised of wave attenuating devices, WADs, along the South Causeway of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in Bradenton, Florida, in Manatee County. The purpose of this video is to provide an update to the WADs, which serve 2 primary functions: shoreline stabilization and seagrass mitigation.
You know, it's more important than ever as when hurricanes come and the coastlines are so susceptible to erosion and damage from these, the waves breaking on the coastline. And so, we're trying to come up with creative ways to solve this issue. And again, these wave attenuation devices was an alternative to a traditional breakwater that normally has the rubble riprap, the big boulders that are placed out there. And because of the depth of water here that we wanted the wave attenuation devices in, the WADs were a much better selection, much cheaper alternative than those traditional big, large boulders that you might use.
The WADs were placed in 2 locations along the west side of the Fishing Pier Access Road. The WADs were designed in 2 sizes, 8.5 feet and 10.5 feet tall, and placed at a depth of 5.5 feet and 7.5 feet respectively, and placed between 50 and 300 feet offshore. A total of 844 WADs were placed via barge-mounted cranes as 2 overlapping rows. For more information regarding the design and installation specifics, please refer to Skyway Wave Attenuating Devices informational video on YouTube. Riprap has been placed along both the seaward toe of the structure and at the ends of the WADs arrays to reduce potential scour.
This project kind of started out back when we were analyzing we were replacing the Skyway rest area, the Manatee rest area, and at that time we noticed damage along the seawall, and so they were looking at opportunities how to ensure the long-term viability of the seawall. So certainly the cap on the seawall was all damaged, and then the rubble riprap that's right against the seawall, it wasn't maybe sufficient as it needed to be. And so we looked at different alternatives. The original plans for the Fishing Pier Access Road and I-275 showed a breakwater out there, but it just was never built. And so we came up looked at different alternatives, and we settled on the wave attenuation devices as a great thing. But at the time, we couldn't implement the project. So we fast forward 5 years later, we had to get the right contracting method, the funding all in place, and and we decided on the wave attenuation devices, and it's been a great project. I wish we could have got them in sooner, but man, what the benefits that we're realizing now are tremendous. Over the years, we've had several instances where we've had washouts on the Fishing Pier Access Road that, from waves crashing up. And so even again, after Hurricane Helene and Milton, on areas that didn't have the WADs, we're still having to deal with the erosion issues and the washouts from those areas. So each storm event, we learn a little something new and try to make, improvements. And honestly, after Hurricane Milton and Helene, they did their job. They broke those waves. We still got storm surge that came up over the seawall onto the Fishing Pier Access Road, but they weren't the damaging, crashing waves. All those broke out short at the breakwater like they were intended to do. So this is the first time that the state, FDOT, has done WADs, but there was 2 other locations that were done within Tampa Bay. And we saw the success of those projects, took some lessons learned from those projects. We added some unique features, including the rubble riprap along the face of the WADs and beefing up the ends of the WADs. This one has a continuous array, a more continuous array, because at each of those breaks in the WADs, you get some more erosion in there. And so with the more continuous nature of it, with just the gaps at the end, that allowed us to, not have to worry about that erosion at each one of those breaks in the WAD array.
And not only do the WADs engineerily help protect our coastline, but it's also creating seagrass to grow behind them, which also helps reduce wave energy and also protects our infrastructure. And one of the big questions we did ask ourselves was, how do we know that this is going to work? Well, not far from here to the south, we do have a rubble breakwater, and we do have seagrass that's growing in behind it. And so we know that there was potential in this area. The water clarity was good enough, the temperature, and then the water depth all would allow seagrass to grow. So we determined that really it was that wave velocity that was really slowing it down, not allowing it to grow behind it. We're expecting to get more than 6 acres of seagrass growing here, and already with only 1 growing season under our belt, we've already got 2.
Again, I'm just so amazed at how quickly the seagrass came in. We knew this project was going to work. We had the other area where we had the breakwater, and the seagrass grew in behind that. That was an old mitigation site way back when this rest area was first built. And so now, today with these new wads, we thought it was going to take several years for the seagrass to come in. And in 1 growing season, I mean, we're already 2 acres of new seagrass that wasn't there before.
Yeah, initially we only had 2 types of seagrass that was growing in, but here with this last growing season, we actually had a 3rd seagrass that was growing in, the star seagrass, which is a little more delicate. So that's really showing that these wads are helping reduce that wave energy that we expected it to.
Seagrass growth is documented through a monitoring event that's scheduled sometime between June 1st and September 30th. This is the peak growing season for seagrass. What we do is we look at all of the different species that are growing down there on the bottom. We identify them all, and we determine how much of the bottom is covered by seagrass. We also look for wave energy being reduced behind the breakwaters and how densely the grass covers the bottom. We take pictures, we record a lot of data, and after the field day, we go back and crunch all the numbers and use that to compare it against the permitted success criteria. Right after the wads were placed, we established monitoring transects between the seawall and the breakwaters. And during the monitoring event, scientists will use GPS equipment to locate that transect again and snorkel the line. About every 50 meters, we put down a 1 meter square quadrat and go down and look and see what's growing on the bottom. And we take pictures at specific intervals as well.
I really think the wads are great because they're helping establish the seagrass behind the wads, because it's reducing the velocity of the wave energy coming in. It's allowing nurseries to help provide protection for the animals. It's providing food habitat, but I'm really enjoying the biodiversity that we've been seeing out there.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Crawford, and I'm a marine ecologist with Stantec.
And I'm Catherine Giese, and I'm a marine biologist with Stantec.
While snorkeling yesterday, we noticed an abundance of barnacles and oysters colonizing the wads.
We also noticed a lot of sea stars and crabs living in and around the wads.
And 1 oyster can actually filter up to 50 gallons per day. So imagine what an entire oyster reef can do.
Oysters can have a large impact on the food web. They play a critical role in nutrient cycling and are an important food source for birds, fish, and even sea stars.
Sea stars, or starfish, are important members of the marine environment and are considered a keystone species.
While snorkeling yesterday, we also noticed an abundance of stone crabs and spider crabs living in and around the wads.
Crabs play an important role in the marine environment and also considered prey and predators.
Crabs are also often referred to as ecosystem engineers, as they can significantly alter their habitat. While in the water yesterday, we also noticed some established seagrass beds. Seagrass is an important food source for many marine animals and birds, including protected species like the sea turtle and manatee, which are known to inhabit Tampa Bay.
Seagrasses also serve as nurseries for juvenile fishes and invertebrates and help enrich the water with oxygen.
I'm really proud of some of the projects we've been able to accomplish that benefit the environment, and they're going to leave a lasting legacy on the community, for decades to come, long past, our lifetimes. And so seeing this, being able to incorporate these jobs and having the support from management and the funding and everything else to be able to bring these projects to fruition has just been great. Really awesome to see that, and really proud of the work that we've been able to do and our team has been able to do to implement, whatever it is, wildlife crossings, the Skyway wads, pipe culverts, pile bridges, you name it. We're just, really on the cutting edge of trying to make sure we can better the environment.
Integrating these engineering factors and including the natural environment really is the best of both worlds, where you're protecting the motorist safety, but then you're also benefiting the environment at the same time.
Absolutely.
Coming into the Florida Department of Transportation, I never imagined that I would be providing connectivity for land animals such as the Florida panther and the black bear. And then coming to the marine realm, I've never expected to be involved so heavily in a project where we're actually creating seagrass and nurseries and habitat and food for all different types of marine life as well. Here in the state of Florida, where we really do value our environment and all of the wildlife in it,
you know, one day we're working to help preserve the Florida panther, the crested caracara, or the Florida bonnet of the bat, and then here today we're helping protecting the Florida manatee, providing the seagrass growth.
And really, engineering and biologists work hand in hand here in the state of Florida at Florida Department of Transportation to be able to accomplish all of these goals, because without one, we can't help the other.
Absolutely, we're always working together to come up with these creative solutions to help, you know, again, make sure we're preserving the environment while serving the transportation needs of Florida.